Hello everybody, my name is Troy Davis, and today I will go ahead and start the Java CodingBat section of my YouTube channel, which I'm going to go ahead and go through every single Java CodingBat. I'm going to read the problem, I'm going to write up a solution, and we're going to try to optimize it and make it as clean as possible for the eye. And then, yeah, I mean, that's essentially it. I'm doing this so you guys can understand these problems even more and, hopefully learn a thing or two throughout my solutions. So, start off the problem, we have sleepIn, which happens to be the first CodingBat you'll probably ever do, because it generally is the easiest CodingBat on the website. Now, although this may be the easiest problem on the website, it may not be the easiest problem you ever solve for, in terms of difficulty for yourself, given the circumstance. Because this is, like I said, probably your first problem, and you're still learning a lot, and this is where you develop many of the fundamental aspects of programming as a whole. So if you struggle with this problem, not just this problem, but any of the other Warmup-1 CodingBats, as your it says warming up, do not be discouraged at all. It's completely normal. I mean, I also struggled when I first attacked these kind of problems, and you're going to be fine. You're going to just learn, and you'll be fine, and all the other problems will become easier and easier and easier. Alright, I'm going to stop yapping. I'm going to go and get into the problem. So the problem says the parameter weekday is true if it is a weekday, and the parameter vacation is true if we are on vacation. Okay, so it looks like we're given a method with two parameters, which are booleans. And essentially, booleans are either true or false, and we'll talk about that later. We sleep in if it is not a weekday or we're on vacation. Return true if we sleep in. Okay, so essentially for these kind of problems, I like to go and write everything out so we can have a clear understanding. And if you don't completely understand it first try, it's fine. Write it out and see how the problem makes sense. So we have a Boolean method, which is public Boolean sleep in, and it takes in two Boolean values, which we have weekday and vacation. Weekday, it'll be true if it's a weekday, false if it's Saturday or Sunday. Then vacation, it'll be true if we are on vacation, false if we are not on vacation. So it essentially wants us to return true if we sleep in. So let's go ahead and write down sleep in. This is what we're going to return true for. So let's see, to ultimately return true, what do we need? So we need to sleep in if it is not a weekday. So not weekday. You see that I put an exclamation mark. And essentially in the Java language and many other languages, an exclamation mark represents not. So it could take in weekday and say if it's true, that not will flip it to false. If it's false, the not will flip it to true. So I mean, we'll talk about that later when we actually write the code. But if it is not a weekday or we're on vacation, and if either of these are true, then we can go ahead and return true in general. So let's go to run through the test cases real quick so we have an understanding of the problem. And yeah, okay, so the first test case, we have false and false. So meaning it is not a weekday, meaning it's Saturday or Sunday, and we're not on vacation. So since it's Saturday or Sunday, we can sleep in, right? We don't have to go to work. So boom, we return true. We have true and false. So true, it is a weekday, and false, we're not on vacation. So unfortunately, we're still working. It's a Monday through Friday, and we are not on vacation. So unfortunately, we can't sleep in. The next one, we have false and true, meaning it is not a weekday, meaning it could be Saturday or Sunday. And so already because of this, we could return true, as you can see in the first test case. And then for the true, for the vacation parameter, that also just makes it even more true. I mean, really, there's no such thing as even more true, but since it's an or statement, it'll also return true. But so say this value is true also, saying it was a weekday, it would still return true. And we'll probably see that in a test case later. But let's go ahead and get into how we're going to write this code. So to start off, we're going to go ahead and go wide, and then we're going to narrow it down and make it simpler and simpler. So to start off, let's just go ahead and attack each of these parameters once at a time. So if it's not weekday, so let's do an if statement and put if it is not weekday, which, like I said, a not exclamation mark flips the Boolean value to true. So essentially, if false, it'll be like if true, and since what's inside is true, it'll go to move on to the next line. So boom, we will return true, right? And then after that, we have to check the vacation Boolean. So else, if I like to use else, so it just makes your code a little bit more optimized. If this doesn't check out, then we're gonna go to check if we are on vacation. Boom, and if that is true, we will return true. And then for Boolean methods, integer methods, string methods, anything where you have to return something, you have to return something. So since we're in a Boolean method, we have to return something even if these don't hit. So in the case that we cannot sleep in, we'll just simply return, oh my gosh, I cannot type, this is a different keyboard. And it's bugging, what the heck? That's embarrassing. We're just going to return false. And boom, as you can see, everything checks out, and we can go ahead and go to the next step, which is cleaning our code up. So for if statements, while statements, for loops, anything like that, if we have only one line of code within the condition, or not the condition, but like what we're doing following the condition, we can go ahead and just remove the brackets. Oh my gosh, my keyboard is bugging, I'm sorry. But we could go to remove that, and it still works. It just looks a little bit more clean, a little bit more simple. And now you might be thinking, hold on, couldn't we just put this in an or statement? So if it's not weekday, or if it's vacation, because we can return true. You're absolutely right, because at the end of the day, these two statements, if they hit, it does the same thing, which is return true. So we could go and just cut this out entirely, and then go back into the statement, and then add a double bar, which represents or, and then go and put the parameter vacation in. Boom, it also works. Now this is super simple code, but there's something we could do to simplify it even more. Whatever is in here ultimately is what we return. So if this checks out, it will represent true, and then we'll move on to return this true. And if it's false, this won't return, and then we'll end up returning the false. So what we could do is go to remove this entirely, just straight up return what's in here. And keep in mind, you still need your semicolon. Boom, it works. So that is the most simple code you can get for this problem, and I hope you understand. If you have any questions, just drop in the comments, or actually just message me. That'll be much easier. But let's go through the test cases. False, false, we already went through that. True, false, we already went through that. False, true, we already went through that. True, true. So if it is a weekday, okay, so it goes boom, not true, so that's false. False, or hey, we're on vacation, true. So since there's a true within this thing, we could go to return true. If this doesn't really make that much sense to you as of right now, what I would suggest is go to Boolean tables, which, if I can find the right thing, I looked at it earlier. It's right here. This will help explain how everything works. So we have A and B, these two different examples of Boolean values. If we flip it with like not A, it flips all the A values, A and B. Both have to be true to return true, meaning if there's like true and false, it'll be false. But if it's true and true, it'll be true. If it's false or false and false, it's false. And you can see that here. I'm so sorry, you cannot even see it. And then after that we have or, and then with an or only one has to be true to return true, and all these other ones we do not need to worry about right now. But that is simply it for the Warmup-1 CodingBat. I'm sorry this video has been a little choppy. This is my first video recording. The following CodingBats will be much, much better. And yeah, thank you for your time.